Snapchat, good morning, what's going on? I didn't go to bed till bloody 1 a.m. last night, really. I'm a little bit tired. Look at the weather in Brisbane lately, it's ridiculous. It has been a gloomy old couple of days here. It's very rare for Brisbane, hey? This doesn't happen too often. We're enjoying the gloom, we're happy to have the sun back. Question of the day, we're gonna knock it out bright and early this morning. Here we go. How do you deal with the fear of being unsuccessful or failing or never really getting there? And usually if you have that fear, you go and infatuate with the people who are successful, right? I really want to do this one because this is so important. You have to get this. It's a perception shift that you need to adopt if you do want to get successful. Get a pen and get a paper and write this down. Your pain and pleasure will be conserved through time and space. You'll always have a balance of pain and pleasure, always. And then under where you've written pain and pleasure, write down challenge and support, predator and prey, reprimand and praise. They're all conserved. If you want proof of this, go and ask someone who you think doesn't have challenge, who doesn't have reprimand, doesn't have haters, who doesn't have any problems or difficulties. Go and ask them their challenges. It doesn't matter who they are. If they're homeless living on the street, if they're Warren Buffett, if they're fame and fortune, if they're celebrities, they have a balance of pain and pleasures. This is exactly how the universe is meant to be. This is divine perfection. This is how things grow. This is how we evolve. This is how we develop. This is how we have contrast in our lives. We need it. But suffering will emerge in your life when you start to judge it and you think that there's something wrong. You think there's something wrong with you, or you think that someone else doesn't have that shit. You think that someone else doesn't have challenges. The level of pains and pleasures that you attract into your life to help you grow is directly correlated to the level of conscious evolution you've attained. If you're a 7 or an 8-year-old and you have a crush on a girl in class, your pain might be having that girl reject you or say something mean about you, or your predator might be someone trying to go out with her. If you're a successful international business person, your pains might be having money stolen from the company. Your predator might be being sued or extorted or blackmailed. If you're down here in the body doing judgment, swinging between pain and pleasure, challenge and support, thinking that this is the game of life, you're not growing, you're not consciously evolving. The successful international businessman wouldn't feel pain anymore by being rejected by the 7-year-old crush. That would be a little weird. He's transcended this judgment and gone to the next quantum leap. And you know how I know he's transcended this judgment? Because if he was still hanging on to the pain of being rejected, he wouldn't be a successful businessman. If you have charges against things, you can't progress. And if you're perpetually chasing the monopole, which doesn't exist, and you're always trying to chase the one side of life, pleasures without pains, you're in a holding pattern of conscious evolution. Because the pains that you have right now, the predators that you have right now, are exactly the pains and exactly the predators that you need to grow to the next level. You need to deal with it. But what do most people do? They don't deal with it. They look to people with greater results, with greater pleasures than them, and think that they somehow have a better life. It's like the 7-year-old boy who's still in pain about being rejected by his girlfriend, comparing himself to the international business person, saying, why don't I make $20 million a year? You won't get to enjoy their pleasures until you're ready to deal with the level of their pains. The business person's pains, if it was given to the 7-year-old, would crush him. He would die. He couldn't handle it. So for the duration you remain blinded to people's challenges and you go and infatuate with people because you're only looking at their pleasures and you think that they've got some sort of magical unicorn life, you will never play at their level. Because if you're so enamored by the results and you can't even see the pains and the challenges and the drawbacks and the predators, if you can't see them, there's no way that you're going to be able to stomach them for yourself. And in not acknowledging that every single human has a conservation of pains and pleasures, predators and preys, you're ignorant. You're ignorant to the reality of the universe. Because when you go and ask the two people individually, the 7-year-old boy, you say, hey, what are your pleasures? And he'll have a heap of pleasures and I'll say, what are your pains? So I've got a heap of pains at the moment. I've got so much pain, so much stress for the 7-year-old, right? And then if you go and ask the businessman, what are your pleasures? And he's got all these pleasures that he's accumulated and they're really cool pleasures. And I say, what are your pains? And he's got all the pains, he's got the stress, he's got the challenge. They're conserved, just like they are for every single human. And as you start to transcend your pains and pleasures and you start to move to the next level of understanding and awareness, you'll start to realize there's something going on. I transcend this oscillation, then I get promoted to the next and I get a higher degree of pains and pleasures. You get a higher order of pains and pleasures. And then you keep going and there's an order here. And the order is perfection. But not if you judge it, and not if you go and infatuate with people, not if you remain ignorant and think that someone has just got all the pleasures and all the supports. It's not true, it's not real. It's not meant to be that way. So to answer the initial question, if you have a fear of remaining unsuccessful, then I guarantee you also have a fantasy of success, of what success is. Because if you go and get every successful person that you've ever looked up to or read about or admired or wanted to be like, and then you go and factor in the pains and drawbacks and challenges, it offsets their pleasures. And if you look really closely at your own life, you'll realize that your pains offset your pleasures. You've got what they've got. Everyone has got the balance. And if you actually factor in the level of pains and reprimand and challenge and predator that you're ready to deal with, that you're ready to stomach, you're already successful in comparison to that. So find where you're successful. Own your success, own your wealth, own your results, own your influence, own your confidence. And when you own it all, you'll transcend easier. But if you dedicate your life to chasing the monopole, chasing the one side, you're fucking gonna live like an animal and you'll never really get there. You'll never really make it. Hold me to it.